Welcome back to another episode of the Sportsgasm podcast. This is the 7th episode. We already reached 7. Wow, how about that?
Crazy.
This, of course, the Sportsgasm podcast, the podcast for the fans, by the fans, because we believe that we are the most qualified people to speak about our teams. At least we think we are. I'm your co-host, Isaac.
Kylee.
And this week, no special guests. I know, sad, tears of sadness. For the first time since our second ever episode, we have no guests. So it's just going to be your two favorite idiots talking about sports. And Kylee, it felt weird this week. There was no football. This was the first weekend with no football. I was happy because the Daytona 500 and was on and NASCAR's back. I was able to watch that, but we don't talk about it on the show, even though we should.
Yeah, it kind of sucked, no football. But of course, there's always drama. So with the first drama that we're talking about, we got Brian Flores being hired as the Steelers defensive assistant / linebackers coach. And my freaking God, is this one of the bigger demotions that the NFL has had?
Oh, I mean, so on one hand, yeah, I'm happy that he has a job.
Right, exactly. That's the
you're
one.
Like, and I'm glad it's Mike Tomlin. I'm glad Mike Tomlin is like, looking out for you, bro. Come here. And yeah. I think that's going to be a good addition because I look at who he's got to work with. Yeah. He's going to be working with that Steelers defense, which pretty much single-handedly got them to the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last season, and he's going to be working with that. And Flores is not a bad coach.
No,
it's going to be good. But you're right. It's just a massive demotion. This is the guy who was head coach of the Dolphins the last 3 years. Yep. And there's still all sorts of drama going on about that. But you got to, I feel happy for him and sad for him at the same time. I'm happy that he's got a job, and I'm happy he's with an organization like the Steelers, who maybe he can help clean up all the mess there. Although they seem to be working towards that. But I'm sad because he's not a head coach when he should be,
Yeah, but I mean, when you're suing the NFL, it's even no matter what side, I wasn't even expecting him to get a job with all that going on. I'm glad he did. So it just sucks that it's not a head coaching job.
Yeah. I mean,
there were a ton of opportunities.
And so many teams, it feels like, went in the wrong direction with their coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, just Bears. Just to name one. It's like you're really going to take Matt Eberflus. I can never get his name right. Yeah, Eberflus, whatever. You're really going to take that guy over Flores? To be honest, I made my opinion very clear. I do not think that was a good pickup. I may be wrong. I know you were wrong about Nick Sirianni and the Eagles. I may be wrong about Matt Eberflus and the Bears. But
we'll see.
Yeah. So speaking of the Bears and teams from Bears, let's talk
about the Bears owner real quick.
Yeah. What's his name again? It's not the McCaskey family. I think they changed ownership this year.
Yeah. Oh, it's Aaron Rodgers. That's
right. In the middle of a game. He took over in the middle of a game.
Yeah,
right.
He owns the team. Yeah.
I know a guy who's a Bears fan who I used to work with, who's probably going to send me a hateful message on Facebook for that little thing we just did. But yeah, did you tune into the Pat McAfee show yesterday?
I actually did, and I mean, everybody was speculating that that Aaron Rodgers was going to appear, and with that came a lot of more speculation. But unfortunately, it was one of the bigger teases, and unfortunately, he did not make his decision.
He just left us all with blue balls. Pardon my French. Just we were all anticipating, this is going to be the moment. Now, I delayed me starting my work because I wanted to see, is he going to announce going to Denver?
Right.
Or do I need to start praying that Drew Lock goes to Tampa because, justice for Drew Lock? And instead, we just get Aaron Rodgers comes on and just, talks about, oh, this was a good season. I'm not announcing anything today. Go on my Instagram to see this heartfelt post about Shailene Woodley and all that. And I'm like, you ass.
I know.
You troll. You bastard.
He's embracing all of it, and it's so annoying.
For the love of all that is holy, just tell us, man.
I know.
I'll give him this. He is fantastic. He is fantastic at promoting himself because, he's got the entire world thinking about where's he going to go. just announce you're going to the Bears already, or an NFC North rival. We all
Could
know
you
it's going to
imagine if he
be.
goes
It's
to the
going to
Bears?
be Brett Favre Part 2. He's going to go to an AFC team, spend 1 year sucking there, and then go to like the Vikings to replace Kirk Cousins, and everyone's going to freak out, and then he's going to throw an interception in the NFC Championship, and the Saints win another Super Bowl.
Calling it now.
Yeah.
On to some more drama in the NFL. 4 Cowboys cheerleaders accused a now former team executive of voyeurism, which is peaking, into the locker room back in 2015. Ew. They reached a $2.4 million confidential settlement, and the NFL will not be investigating it. But gross.
So I'm going to quote one of my favorite shows on television right now, which is Euphoria. First off, ew. Second off, ew. Just so the NFL's had this has kind of been an issue that's been going on for a while in the NFL, where you get more and more of these stories coming out of cheerleaders, being sexually harassed or sexually assaulted, or just not being treated like human beings. We saw what happened with Buffalo. They had to shut down their cheerleading corps.
Washington,
the Commanders, the commies. God forbid, every couple of months a new story comes out about Dan Snyder doing something gross with them. And now this is just so I didn't know about this until I saw it in our notes. And it's like, if I'm the NFL, I'm ignoring that settlement and I'm launching my own private investigation into this, because it's just now that, again, I, as a man, I don't know if I'm most qualified to talk about this, but that's just my take.
He is now former, but at the same, it's just like it happens all the time. All the freaking time. And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't there's nothing else to say about it other than it's disgusting.
It's going to sound like we're just repeating talking points, but I mean, we're just two people on the internet. We don't really have that power, but I guess what we can do is, spread awareness of it.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, it's just like, this as a whole is like, there's a massive culture change that needs to happen in the NFL. The NFL needs a purge of the old guard, of the old owners. How many of these owners we find out have said really racist things about their teams? Like Bob McNair, owner of the Texans, before he died, he was saying, we can't let the inmates run the asylum. It's like,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. It's just bad. The whole thing is just bad.
It's a bad culture all around, and something our dear friend Roger Goodell is kind of trying to fix.
Yeah, that's funny.
As he may be inking a contract extension with the NFL. He last signed an extension in 2017, and it was supposed to be his last one, and it was set to be done in 2024. And he's currently 63, but it seems like he's going to be inking another one.
He's 63?
I know, he doesn't look like it, does he?
He does not. He's got to give his Botox lady a big raise.
He's been the commissioner since 2006. Do you think there should be a new guy in that seat?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. No, there's, I mean, how much BS has Roger Goodell had put on his plate and not addressed properly? How many times has he completely screwed up the league's response to a social issue or a massive controversy? How many times has he he's given the get-go to implement a brand new rule that has not only, damaged the sport of football as a whole, but made some games purely unwatchable? How many times has he completely backstabbed metropolitan area saying, we'd love to keep you around San Diego, but your owner really wants the team in Los Angeles and we need money. So get him the hell out.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of comments that are obviously agreeing, and I 110% agree with that. But there's some other leagues that are related to the NFL. We got the USFL.
So I actually have a lot to say about this.
Take the mic.
So the last few years, it's felt like, it started with 2019. We had the AAF in the offseason. That got shut down, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 2020, they tried the XFL. COVID shut that down. We didn't have one last year. But now we have another off-season league format, the USFL. For anyone who's not aware, the USFL is not a brand new thing.
No.
Back in the 80s, this was a league created back in the 80s to rival the NFL that actually did quite well for a bit. They got a lot of big name stars. Jim Kelly, the famous quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, who led them to 4 straight Super Bowls. When he was drafted by the Bills, he decided not to play for them at first and played a couple seasons with the Houston Roughnecks of the USFL. This was Herschel Walker, the 82 Heisman Trophy winner. He got his start in the USFL. Yeah. This was a league that legitimately had a chance to challenge the NFL. You know, the games they played were good. And they were challenging the NFL during a time when the NFL was a league dominated by defense and like one-sided blowouts. Like the Super Bowl every year was a blowout. The USFL came around and they had close games. They were hitting markets. They were hitting markets that the NFL wasn't hitting, and they were doing really well. And it looked like finally there could be some competition. And then a man by the name of Donald J. Trump bought the New Jersey Generals and torpedoed the league. Not the first time he has torpedoed let's just say an organization / country, but that's my own personal opinion. I'm not going to get into it. But let's just say the USFL went under. The NFL was left to dominate. So now they're bringing it back, not with the other guys' involvement. And I got to say, I want to be excited. I really want to be excited.
Me too.
Because football is great. I love that, we have a chance to have football all year round. But there's 2 things about it that I'm just concerned about. First off, it's football burnout. We already have Thursday night football, Friday night high school football, Saturday college football, Sunday NFL. You need a break from football. And that's my issue with any league that shows up. They try to play football during a time that it doesn't work. If I want my football fix during the summer, I turn on the Canadian Football League, and I only get 1 game a week there. That's all I need. Yeah. But you're telling me now I have the option to watch a ton more games every single week. It's like great, but like eventually I'm going to get tired of it. And there's also the second issue is this. This is the 3rd time a league has tried to show up and kind of be not exactly a rival, but kind of coexist with the NFL. It doesn't work. The XFL had a chance to work. It did. It really did. But COVID ruined that. We'll never find out if it could. The AAF.
The XFL is coming back.
That is true. You know what? I'll give the XFL credit. They're trying. The AAF, look what happened to them. They ran into financial troubles immediately. Because the problem that all of these leagues have is that the product they're putting out on the field is inferior, vastly inferior. It's like watching a practice game, a scrimmage, or a college level game. This is supposed to be pro football. If you can't put out a product that can get fans to come to your games, it's going to be a problem. Just look at what happens with any team that they put in Birmingham. Every league tries to put a team in Birmingham because, it's a huge market in the South. It's untapped. There's like no pro sports leagues down there. There should be. Birmingham's great. But they never manage to get people to show up out there because the product they put out is inferior. That's the issue. So that's why I'm not excited about the USFL. I want to be, but I'm afraid I'm going to get football burnout. And I'm also afraid that it's just going to be like the other leagues that just have, product that's blech. Anyway, rant over. Kylee, what are your thoughts?
No, I mean, it's definitely a fair argument, but when you look at the XFL success before COVID, that was like the first one that legitimately had some potential, and it is coming back. But with the USFL, I just don't know how it's going to work with the XFL as well. That's the confusing thing. And I know the XFL has like just announced a partnership with the NFL. So they're basically going to be doing like what they should be doing and testing, the equipment, the rules, everything like that, like what they were doing before. And if the NFL loves it, then they're going to take it from the XFL. I don't know how it's also going to work with the USFL existing. It just seems like it's a lot, and this just is not going to be the one that works because there's no ties to the NFL like with the XFL.
Now, I just want to bring up something about the USFL. I just found out all their games are going to be played in Birmingham.
What?
Yeah. So all the teams are going to be playing in Birmingham. Yeah, this league's not lasting.
No.
I don't know. Well, it's going to be headquartered in Birmingham. But yeah, they're going to be played at Protective Stadium on the campus of the University of Alabama, Birmingham, and Legion Field, which is a dump, I should mention. They used to play the Iron Bowl there, and it doesn't work anymore. It's gross. Well, I think that's because, I don't know, See, this is why this confirms my suspicions. I'm very concerned about this because
Absolutely.
it's like I think a lot of it deals with the fact that they can't even. Oh, you know what? It might be they might not be able to have stadiums. The problem I see with them is that they all the teams that they brought in are teams that that's another problem. They're going for markets that already have NFL potential. I'll give the AAF
Yeah.
credit. The AAF actually went for markets that had no NFL teams, like San Diego, San Antonio, Salt Lake City. Big-ish markets.
Yeah.
But but here they got Birmingham. I mean, they got Birmingham. Obviously, they got Birmingham, and that's it. Every other team is already from an NFL market. Houston, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, sort of Michigan, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. They already have NFL teams there.
Yeah.
At this point, the NFL should just, I don't know, move the Chargers to Birmingham. Ooh, that actually is a good idea.
No.
No, because they're not going. Because now the Rams have a Super Bowl, the Chargers are never going to get a following there.
That's fair.
Just get rid of the team. Just pull a Houston Oilers, wipe the team from the record books, and send them to Birmingham and introduce the Birmingham. Let's go with what was the name of the old team they had from the World Football League in the Birmingham Americans. Birmingham Bolts. There you go.
The Birmingham Bolts.
Yeah. I'm
so
sorry.
Justin Herbert of the Birmingham Bolts.
You know what? Alabama deserves an NFL team. All right. They have no pro sports teams down there. They just have to deal with horse racing and NASCAR. And that's all good and fine and stuff.
And
but
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Oh, that actually, you know what? That is the reason why Alabama doesn't have pro sports teams, because college sports dominate so much.
Yeah, well,
they still deserve an NFL team. Just,
No, but I mean, what the XFL did, at least for the DC Defenders, because we live in the DMV, so I know. I went to a DC United game after the XFL season had been canceled. No, it was right after the first or second game, right before the COVID shutdown, and literally it was the last game I went to before the shutdown, and they used Audi Field to play the XFL games, which great idea. It gets Audi Field more exposure. It's a great place to go to for a soccer game. So an XFL game was probably great too. And it just sucked because the field was had defender. You could clearly tell it was defenders and stuff like that. They had stuff from that game. But they were using Audi Field. They could have used FedEx Field, but they can use the pro teams' fields and kind of be like the minor league of football, which would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I think it could work. I'm glad to see that the XFL and the NFL are working on a partnership. Hopefully the XFL can hopefully the XFL owners get with the NFL owners and basically be like, hey guys, some of your rules are antithetical to the basis of football.
Mm-hmm.
For the love of God, let them taunt each other. It's fine. I hope
they
that
work
happens.
their asses off day in, day out. Let them.
They
celebrate.
deserve to talk some shit.
Yeah, let them celebrate. I mean, what is so wrong with Tyreek Hill throwing up a peace sign and when he's 50 yards from the closest guy in front of him?
That's awesome. I love when that happens.
Right, exactly.
They didn't call it in the playoffs, which was weird. But you know what's funny?
They did fine him. They did fine him.
Oh God! People. I will say this: the NFL taunting rule kind of vanished a little bit during the back half of the season.
It did because everybody hated it.
Yeah. Ooh, language, man.
I know.
No, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I feel like we've had enough episodes now where we can squeak in one or two every so often we want to. But yeah, everybody gets one. Everyone gets one per episode. You've had your one. I still have to drop one later. I think that's pretty much everything we could talk about the NFL. Do we ever talk about the end of the season awards?
I don't think so, but I know none of it was surprising.
Yeah. No. Yeah. They gave only one surprised me was Coach of the Year. They gave to Mike Vrabel, which okay. You know what?
I mean,
it was such a chaotic season. I don't think we can really.
Yeah. It was nothing was expected. I mean, Jonathan Taylor went off. You had Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers things. Tom Brady doing Tom Brady things.
I didn't realize Aaron had thrown so few interceptions. Like when I already won MVP, I was like, "What?" But Brady was so good this year, and then I looked at stats. I was like,
that dude is insane. I think it was you who told me he hasn't even had 100 interceptions yet in his career.
I don't believe that was me because I don't recall saying that. But
someone told me he had under 100 interceptions in his entire career.
So, first ballot Hall of Fame, right? Right? Yeah.
Maybe, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
This dude had 2 interceptions in the first game of the season. Do you know how many he finished with?
2.
4. He threw 2 more interceptions in the entire season.
I mean, yeah, no. Oh wow,
4 interceptions.
that is a ridiculous stat. Yeah, no, Give him MVP. I think that's the fewest interceptions ever thrown by a quarterback with actual stats.
With his stats.
Yeah, not like that is ridiculous. Actually, let me check that up now. Let me check that now because I'm curious. Fewest interceptions in a season. Passing yards. It was Aaron Rodgers, but it was in 2018. Rodgers, so the minimum is 300 plus passing attempts, 500 plus passing attempts. Aaron Rodgers had just 2 interceptions in 2018, and he played basically the full season. Aaron Rodgers holds the top 4 in that ranking. Oh my God. Aaron Rodgers 2018, Aaron Rodgers 2021, Aaron Rodgers 2019, Aaron Rodgers 2020 are the top 4 seasons with the fewest interceptions attempts. The only person close, Russell Wilson, who had 5 interceptions in 2019.
And then Wentz had 7.
That is ridiculous. That is insane.
Yeah, that dude is smart.
First ballot Hall of Fame. God.
Without question. It's his 4th MVP? I mean, without question. This dude is insane.
All right.
I can't wait to see what happens with him.
I cannot wait too. Now, all right. I'm tired of talking about football.
Yeah, we've exhausted football.
And it's off season, so we shouldn't really be focusing too much on football yet until the draft shows up.
Yeah.
But I believe we should turn on to the other contact sport, which I believe is a lot more fun and I agree into, and that is hockey. I love how hockey is such a heavy metal aesthetic to it.
I know, right?
It's awesome. So last time out, we briefly talked about some of the big games you should watch, and we mentioned the big showdowns last Thursday between the VIN division leaders. Well, they're between us telling you to watch those games and the games actually played. Those teams all they kind of lost the lead in their divisions. Let's just say the NHL has gotten really stupid over the last week and a half.
Yep.
Let's just say that Pittsburgh has come out of nowhere to suddenly be leading the Metropolitan. Tampa Bay, my Bolts are back in action in the Atlantic. We're finally getting past Atlanta. No, why did I say Atlanta? Florida. Sorry, Florida. Calgary has suddenly emerged as the leader in the Pacific, and Colorado is still being Colorado.
They're incredible.
I know. Did you happen to watch them play Vegas last Thursday?
I actually didn't. I completely forgot about it because I was so busy. But they spoiled Jack Eichel's Vegas debut by beating the Knights 2-0.
Ugh. I mean, that's crazy. I'm just checking really quickly before we get into some hockey news about what games are coming up this week that you should watch. And I also want to look at the standings because we're getting down into it.
Yeah. Trade deadline is approaching and it's go time.
Oh yeah. I'm following closely what they're going to do with Claude Giroux and see what happens with him.
Giroux, yeah.
Did I say it wrong again? I apologize.
Philly will be devastated to say the least. Understanding though, because the Flyers have lost 19 of the last 21, and they are on yet another losing streak of 6 games. 6-game losing streak.
My God, how terrible are you guys?
Dude, I'm a Devils fan, not my problem.
Oh, your Devils are even worse.
Dude, I don't want to talk about that. We're ignoring that fact right now because it just makes me sad.
Okay.
This team has lost 19 of the last 21, and they are still better than the freaking Devils. How are you that bad? How are you that bad?
I don't know. At least you can take solace that you're still both better than Montreal, who I will say under Marty St. Louis is starting to turn it around a little bit. They actually have double-digit wins now, finally. It is still concerning that it took them over half the season to get to double-digit wins, but Le Canadiens seem to be okay.
Okay, but the Devils literally, the Flyers literally went on 2 double-digit game losing streaks, have lost 19 of the last 21, and we are still behind them.
You know what's even crazier? You guys are behind the Kraken, an expansion team.
Yeah.
The only teams that you guys are better than are Arizona, who we'll get into in a sec.
Can't wait.
And you are only better than Arizona. You have more wins than Philly. You're only better than Arizona and Le Canadiens. But quickly looking at the standings. So in the Atlantic, it is still a 3-horse race between the 2 Florida teams, Panthers and Lightning. Panthers are back on top for now, but Lightning are right behind them.
Told you to look out for the Panthers.
Oh, well, obviously. I mean, they better get it together. You know how many times the Panthers have had these great teams and lost in the first round of the playoffs? That's why nobody in Florida trusts them. The Maple Leafs are right there as well. Then the battle for the wild card slot is currently the Bruins have a hold on it, but guess who's coming? Dylan Larkin's Detroit Red Wings. The young Red Wings finally starting to turn it around. They're still 10 points behind, but there's still plenty of season to go. Senators pretty much out of it. So are the Sabres, who are bad, really bad.
Yep.
Could have used Jack Eichel. And the Canadian, of course. In the Metropolitan, Hurricanes have retaken the lead by 4 points over the Penguins. Penguins, Rangers are right in there, so it's a 3-horse race for first place. Wildcard spot currently is being held by the Capitals, but watch out for the Blue Jackets because they're coming in. I say that, though, because the Blue Jackets are 12 points behind. But again, a lot of season left.
Yeah.
Islanders continue to be the worst team scoring-wise. They have a goal differential of -12.
Damn.
They've only scored 116 total goals. Yeah, the Islanders are bad. And then the Flyers and Devils just kind of derping around. Out west in the Central, the Avalanche are dominating the Central Division. They have a 10-point lead. They have a 10-point lead over the Blues. It's basically the usual suspects out in the Central. The Avalanche, Blues, the Wild, and the Predators doing their thing. The Stars are also contending. They had a great game with the Predators a couple weeks ago. I watched that game. That game was. I like those teams. Those teams know what they're doing. The Jets and the Stars are kind of just existing. Blackhawks are bad, and the Coyotes.
Coyotes are an absolute joke.
We'll get into them in a second. But go ahead, Kylie. Go ahead.
I mean, the Coyotes. What was it? A 3-year thing or something where they were doing playing in. Was it Arizona State's hockey rink?
Yeah, they posted on social media this previous, we can't wait to see all of our excited fans at our new arena. And people were pointing out, dude, minor league teams have bigger arenas than this.
Yeah,
there's no way the NHL can be okay with this. There's no way the NHL can be okay with a team in a major market. Well, not for hockey, but other sports.
Yeah.
Actually, that might explain why they're okay with it. I think the NHL at this point has given up on Arizona and are just waiting for the city to kick them out so they can relocate them to Houston or Atlanta.
Or
what?
Quebec.
That could also work. It is about time that we get the Nordiques back, or even the Whalers. Let's bring back Hartford.
I was just gonna say Hartford too.
The last division, quickly to talk about the Pacific Division. So for a while, the Pacific Division was kind of a bloodbath. Everybody was vying for it, but now we have a clear leader who's emerged. It is the Flames. Golden Knights are still up there too, but they've fallen behind. Oilers are looking better and better, which I really hate. I think we all hate. By the way, the Flames have won their last 10 games.
Wow.
Should be very afraid of the Flames.
Flyers could never.
Wild card spot is still up for grabs right now between the Kings and the Ducks. Canucks and Sharks are kind of falling back a little bit, but they're still doing pretty well. And the Kraken are still experiencing your typical expansion woes. So I'm not gonna judge them yet.
Yeah, no, nobody expected them to be good. They're not. Vegas is not supposed to happen.
Yeah, Vegas was.
You're not supposed to be an immediate cup contender for the last 5 years. That's not supposed to happen.
I feel like we say that every time we talk about Vegas.
Yeah, because it's not supposed to happen.
I know it's not supposed to happen. I know it's not supposed to happen.
But it's beautiful.
It is. Tonight, by the way, tonight if you want to watch. I guess last night if you're watching today. But just telling you, Kylie, tonight's big game, Oilers and Lightning, huge game,
Big
two
game.
cup contenders. And then Kings and Coyotes for some reason is on TNT as well.
What?
You know what? They're trying to give the Coyotes as much TV coverage as they can before that franchise ceases to exist. Speaking of the Coyotes, let's talk about the first trade deadline.
Yes,
Domino.
let's do it. They were pretty active. In the first trade deadline domino has fallen with the Leafs acquiring Arizona's, I can't even say those last names.
Labushkin and Zingle. The D is silent, I believe.
Yeah, them, and in exchange for Nick Ritchie and a conditional second-round pick. And the condition is Arizona's choice of a third-round pick in 2023 or a second-round pick in 2025. The Leafs get rid of Ritchie's contract and get depth pieces in this trade.
Seems
like okay trade. It's all right.
It's indicative right now of the it's indicative of what the Coyotes are planning to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically just clearing out house at this point, getting rid of core pieces. I think they're preparing to be even worse next year. Probably a move by ownership to get them to be relocated. Do we know if the Coyotes owner has any intention of keeping them in Arizona?
No idea, but I doubt it. At this point, they can't be making. They're not making money.
They also gave goaltender Carter Hutton to the Leafs in exchange for future considerations. Basically, they just gave Toronto. They were like, "Look, take all of our good players. Take our good players. We don't need them anymore."
Toronto doesn't really need a goalie though, but I mean, it's fine.
At least Toronto's got now Toronto. It's scary though. Toronto now has more depth pieces to help Austin Matthews. They're going to be fun come playoff time. I hope that Toronto can have success. If you haven't watched this, by the way, folks, if you're listening, there's a YouTuber that I love, Urinating Tree, who does deep dives into sports. Kind of started as a sports shit poster, but has since kind of matured into more deep dives into stuff. And he did an hour-long video about the Toronto Maple Leafs and what has happened to their franchise since they won their last Stanley Cup, which, by the way, was 1967.
Wow.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't won a first round in
years. It's been years. But yeah, his deep dive into that will tell you all you need to know about the current state of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So,
a moment of silence for the Leafs fans that have not experienced a first round playoff win yet. Okay, done shit talking.
So yeah, Arizona is kicking everyone to the curb, and Toronto is mining the riches that have come from it. A couple other things to talk about in the hockey world. Stars captain Jamie Benn was fined $5,000 for squirting water at Blackhawks McKenzie. Wow, why do hockey players have such hard to pronounce names? McKenzie.
Dude, I don't know.
Enticed. That can't be his real last name. Kylie, you made this up. You made up the story.
I did not.
See, I thought it would be a little weird that they fined him that much money for squirting water at somebody.
It was on Twitter.
But then you put in the name, and now I'm thinking like, no, there's no way. There's no way.
Yep, there's a way, and it's true.
That's stupid.
I mean, there's been worse things. There's been dumber things that people have been fined over.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what else can like?
This is hockey, though.
I know.
We're supposed to be encouraging this. This is the sport where we allow fighting for now until the NHL eventually gets rid of it.
Look, the day the hockey loses fighting is the day I stop watching hockey.
Yeah, when I go to a hockey game, I want to watch grown men smash each other into the boards and beat each other up within reason. Don't be a Brad Marchand and slap somebody in the face with your goal stick.
Yeah, no, there's a way to go about it. You drop the gloves and you fight. That's what you do.
Do we need to put on television of the old Detroit Red Wings from the 90s who fought everybody and always won? Do I need to bring up, footage of Steve Yzerman? What was it? Of Patrick Waugh and the Red Wings goalie in like 1997 going at it in one of the greatest hockey duels of all time, the greatest goalie fight ever. No, I don't.
It's crazy watching like those old hockey clips because it's like the motion is so slow compared to today.
Yeah, it was a slower game, It was a slower game where you won games by, beating the crap out of your opponent and by taking advantage. We kind of blame the Red Wings for that. The Red Wings brought in players from the Soviet Union who played a much faster game, and they changed everything. We had never had. Better. Yeah, but I know, but yeah.
I like faster pace. Keeps it going.
Great speed of Sergei Fedorov. Well, I love Sergei. I love the Red Wings. The Red Wings dynasty of the night. It may be because Steve Yzerman was with Tampa for so long, but
it's definitely why.
Yeah, it is. I love the Red Wings dynasty. They were so cool.
One more thing about the Leafs. Their GM Kyle Dubas shares in a statement that their first round pick, Rodion Amirov, has been diagnosed with a brain tumor. This was like just announced right before we started recording, so I haven't. I don't know anything about it, but that is he was diagnosed with one.
That's it's
a shame.
Wishing him the best for that.
Always.
Yeah. Cancer sucks.
Yes. And on that sad note, on to the NBA, where we have an All-Star Game review, which there's quite a bit to talk about. So where should we start? Dunk contest, or should
we're not trying to stay sad. Let's keep it light. Let's talk about the good from All-Star Weekend. So
you got the 3-point contest with Karl Anthony Towns winning as the biggest long shot.
I was very happy to see that.
Me too.
He's gone through a lot.
Wearing his mom's necklace.
I mean, he had so many family members die of COVID, so
including his mom, and he was wearing her necklace that the NBA actually allowed because they don't usually allow it.
The NBA allowed a lot of things in All-Star Weekend that they probably shouldn't have, but I'm gonna let that pass. Especially I didn't mean to get weird there, but you know what I mean. We'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
Duncan Thames.
But we have Karl Anthony Towns winning the 3-point contest as the biggest long shot. You got Team Cavs winning the skills challenge, which is cool. Aww. I actually liked watching the skills challenge. I was rooting for the rookies.
I was rooting for the Antetokounmpos.
I mean, you couldn't go wrong with whoever you're rooting for. I love the Antetokounmpos, but they weren't going to get it done. Giannis was carrying them. And
he is the only good one. No offense to
the other two are pretty good, but Giannis is a 2-time MVP. Giannis is Giannis.
Giannis is Giannis, and then there's the others.
But I loved when they had the Damian Lillard shot when he hit it against OKC and waved everybody goodbye. Buzzer beater in the playoffs. It was an iconic shot, and it was really cool to see other players try to shoot that shot.
Yeah.
Not many others are shooting that.
We got to get Dame out of Portland. We got to get him to a good team.
Free Dame.
We got to get. It's weird. I will say I thought that the 75th anniversary celebration during the halftime of the All-Star game was awesome.
I did too.
Seeing all the old players. It was awesome to see Michael Jordan made it all the way from Daytona after his driver Bubba Wallace came second in the Daytona 500.
Was it second?
Yeah, second. He was so close. He was so close. Sorry, Austin Cindric threw 2 of the nastiest blocks I've ever seen. That if he doesn't get that block in time, Bubba's winning that race. But regardless,
if you want to read more about that, you gotta read his blog. It's great.
Go to pitstopblogcoms.com to follow along my coverage of NASCAR.
Shameless plug.
Even if you are not interested, I will assure you, stock car racing is the greatest American drama. It is America's trash TV in sports form. And trust me, you will not be disappointed. Speaking of Michael Jordan and NASCAR, during Saturday night's Xfinity Series race, there was a really bad accident on the final lap. Michael Jordan was standing right where the accident occurred, and bits of suspension ended up in his trailer.
I thought that was kind of funny.
That's terrifying. That's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
A little funny. It's a little funny.
It's a little funny, and it's also like pretty freaking terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, I love that he loves NASCAR so much. But I was glad to see he made it to the All-Star contest, to the
Yeah, I didn't think he
celebration.
would.
And of course, he was the last to show up. Just to remind everybody, it was coming in, swinging, it's all swinging and swingling. Just
Still
reminding
him.
everybody who's the best person here.
Did you see Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce?
Yeah, good times, good time. Wait, no, I didn't like the Celtics.
No one likes
They
the Celtics, but I'm saying.
they brought back bad mememories, but it
But
was good
did
to
you
see them
see
together.
Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce just not look at Ray Allen as Ray Allen was walking by? Did you see that?
I didn't see that exact part, but that sounds like them.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett was literally just kind of standing there like.
I can't believe they still have that beef. I remember watching It's Real 85.
Of course.
It's Real 85 NBA voiceover videos, and like 2012, 2013, I remember how he would just go ham. Like anytime I remember the Celtics was asked about Ray Allen, it was just nah, Ray Allen. And that Kevin Garnett's like, if I see him, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a joke, and now I'm realizing, they actually
serious.
really hate him. Okay.
Yeah, no, they don't like him. There was a lot of drama going on with that team, and it still exists. Clearly, it's alive and well.
I love sports. It's the only place this can happen,
right? And then you got for the All-Star game, you got Kevin Durant's team winning the first quarter, and that donated money to his charity. I forget which charity it was. I'm blanking.
Doesn't matter. It was a charity. That's all that counts.
Right. Yes, it was a great charity. It was a great thing for charity. And then you got Curry winning the All-Star Game MVP over Joel Embiid because Curry made 16 3-pointers and dropped 50 points.
Good God.
Yeah, this dude, the first ever Kobe Bryant All-Star Game MVP, by the way. But this 16 threes. 16
threes. Just
Embiid would have had it if Curry didn't do that.
Yeah. Team LeBron won, right?
Of course.
Okay, just double check. I had to go to work early, so I had turned off the All-Star game. My apologies, folks. I did not watch it entirety. I know, bad, Isaac, bad. But
LeBron had the game winner in Cleveland, of course, because the story.
He wants to go back so bad.
Do you think he is?
I hope he does, and I hope that in his final year, Bronny, because he said he wants to play with Bronny. I hope that Bronny goes to the Cavs one last year. That would be awesome.
We're gonna talk about that in a second, though, because we have stuff to say about that. But,
I think we can go ahead and talk about that, Kyle. I don't think anything else happened.
No. What one more thing did happen?
No. I don't think we have to talk about that, Kylie. I'd rather forget that event happened.
No. We gotta talk about it because Obi Toppin did win the slam dunk contest.
More it's like he was awarded the victory because nobody else could do anything. Like,
yeah, it was atrocious. There's nothing more to say about it. Like, it was awful.
So a while back, SB Nation, before they became Secret Base, did a series called The Worst, and I think they sometimes still do it, but not really. But their second ever episode, they talked about the worst ever dunk contest, which was 1997, and I think they need to update that because that was awful. That was awful.
They kept missing the dunks, and I mean, yeah, if they made the dunks, the dunks that were attempted were cool, but they kept missing them.
And it's like no one had practiced. Jalen Green was atrocious. Cole Anthony, made me laugh because he tried dunking in the Timbs, and all I can think about is that Boondocks clip. It was like, oh man, he broke the rim. He's shooting nonstop threes in his Timbs.
Yeah, but it was atrocious. There's nothing else to say about it.
Riley ballin'.
Other than fix it.
How do we fix it though?
Get John Morant in there, get LeBron James in there, get actual names in there. And I saw a thing earlier that was like, people don't want to go to the slam dunk contest because if they suck, it could ruin their brand. But you got players who had bad appearances and they are not remembered for that.
Yeah. Kobe won the dunk contest once. People don't even remember he was in one because it was the one that was really bad from 97.
Yeah, I mean, like,
who cares if you have a bad dunk contest? You can just obliterate somebody in a real life game.
Yeah, that's what matters. This is just for entertainment.
Like, we're trying to put on a show for the fans to remind everybody that, hey, we want to thank you guys for supporting us all these times. So we're going to do crazy stuff. I'll say that the dunk contest hasn't been the same since Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine went at it back in 2016, and I'll leave it at that.
Or when Blake Griffin jumped over the car. That's what everybody's saying. But
sort of jumped over a car.
you just fix it. I mean, get LeBron, get John Morant, get the actual dunkers in there. I mean, that's all I got to do. So trade deadline over, All-Star game over. The second part of the season starts tomorrow or today when this podcast releases. Who's your midway finals prediction? Who you got?
Well, let me just check something. Yeah, it starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I was just double checking. Yeah, it does. Well, I'll look at it this way. Looking at the standings right now. So in the East, here's who we know who's out of it. Magic. Trash.
Yeah.
Pistons. Trash.
Yeah.
Pacers. Trash.
Yeah.
Knicks. What happened?
Who?
Right now, the East is extremely competitive.
Yes.
The Heat and Bulls are currently tied for first place. Go Heat. But I think out of the East, out of the ridiculously competitive East, I think the 76ers are going to emerge as Eastern Conference champions. You know, they're pretty self-explanatory. James Harden's going to give that team a boost. Joel Embiid's playing his brains out, and they finally got rid of all the drama with Ben Simmons, so I think they're going to pull ahead. West, meanwhile, think Warriors. I think it's going to be the 76ers and the Warriors for the finals, with 76ers winning. Could
you imagine, dude, if that actually
I want to see
happens,
Philadelphia burn to the ground again.
I want to party on Broad Street. I have not partied on Broad Street since 2017. I want a parade. I haven't been able to get, do things 21-year-olds can do at a parade. I want to do that. I want to party. I want to have fun on Broad Street. Like, I want a parade. But this year, I don't think is the year.
Okay.
I do not. I would love for that to happen. But ultimately, with New York City expected to lax the COVID rules, so Kyrie's going to play.
Oh, no.
I know.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
So I really think in a 7-game series, I think the Eastern Conference is going to be Philadelphia and Brooklyn, which imagine the toxicity in Brooklyn, in Philadelphia with Ben Simmons playing. Like, imagine that. But I really just think that Ben Simmons is going to be an asshole and actually be able to shoot. And so I just think it's just going to all come together for Brooklyn. They got the pieces they needed in Drummond and Curry and Simmons. So I just think I would hate to see it, but I think that could happen. I think for the West, Phoenix is doomed without CP3 for 6 to 8 weeks. So I don't think they're going to make it out. They're going to play a harder competition earlier on in the playoffs, and it's just going to doom them. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to get it done. I think it could be the Grizzlies or the Warriors. And I actually would pick the Grizzlies. Hot take. Grizzlies in the finals.
Not necessarily a hot take. I mean, the Grizzlies are awesome. 41-19, John Morant going off. But I don't know. I think they're too young. I don't think they're ready enough. They're ready yet to challenge the elite. I mean, the Suns are going to be a problem no matter what, even with the Chris Paul injury. And the Warriors seem to have completely turned it around after the last 2 years, and it's back to everybody being like, "Oh boy, here we go again," which is why I'm pulling for the East as usual. Like, let's go East. Let's go East. I'd love for my Heat to get another title, but I just don't trust us.
I'd like to see Jimmy Butler get a ring.
Yeah.
I could see Philly beating, the Nets, but I just don't have faith in the teams that I root for. I don't trust it.
You gotta have faith. Well, to be fair, I don't have faith either. So
I know who I root for is ultimately do. I mean, Manchester United, we got Ronaldo. Look at how bad we are. I mean, just look at all the teams I root for: Sixers, Phillies, Eagles. Like it. I don't trust
Devils. You forgot one.
Exactly.
Devils.
I don't trust it. I mean,
And meanwhile, all my teams are perennial winners: Lightning,
Yeah.
Buccaneers, Yankees, Heat, Manchester United,
No.
Kyle Larson in NASCAR.
Yeah. I mean, you got different luck. I mean,
The Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, you guys beat my Toronto Argonauts. Whatever.
Atlanta United.
We don't like any Atlanta teams here.
North Carolina Tar Heels basketball.
Of course you do. But
Florida Gators football. All right, I'll stop.
But,
Those are my teams.
But keep rooting for the Sixers. Keep saying the Sixers are going to do it. Yeah, please. Because I'm trying to keep a level-headed mindset and not, go crazy because anything can happen.
That is true. So I'm curious, Kylie. Who do you think? I want to give out a little mid-season awards here. Who is the biggest surprise of the season so far for both conferences?
The biggest surprise for both conferences? For the East, give me Chicago. We all expected them to be better, a lot better, but I just did not expect them to be this much better. It makes me happy as a Jordan fan. I mean, the Bulls have a special place in my heart because of Jordan and because of Derrick Rose and Dennis Rodman. Like those are my like some of my favorite players. Joakim Noah, favorite player since he was a Gator. He went to Chicago. Like, so it makes me happy to see that. They are my biggest surprise for sure. Mm-hmm. For the West, I'm gonna put positives on like biggest surprise. So, Grizzlies as well. I didn't think they would be this good early on in Jaw's career. Makes me happy to see because I love Jaw. So those are my biggest surprises so far.
Yeah, I would go with, for the East, I'd go with Cleveland. I did not expect
them too.
I didn't think the Cavaliers were going to do anything until LeBron eventually comes crawling back like he always does. But they're fourth in the East. They're 35-23. They have a solid young core that actually is playing well.
Yeah.
They have a legit shot of being contenders. I think they'll get it. I don't think they'll go to the conference finals, but I think they'll get to the second round. Right now they'd be paired up against the Bucks in the playoffs, which would be tough, but I think they could do it. And in the West, I agree with you. I thought the Grizzlies would be good this year. I thought they would have been like contenders for like the 8th seed. I didn't think they would be this good. 41-19, 3rd seed. I mean, holy crap, they're so good.
Yeah.
On the flip side, biggest disappointments. I'll go first on this one. For the West, Lakers.
Yeah.
All that talent, and they have a losing record at the halfway point of the season.
Yep.
And are the most dysfunctional team I've ever seen. And for the East, it's the Knicks.
That's what I was going to pick.
The hell happened?
I mean, every now and then, like we've talked about this in other podcast episodes, where there's always that one team that manages to slip through the cracks, and I feel like New York was that. Julius Randle had most improved player last year and went from that to requesting a trade right before the trade deadline. Didn't work out clearly, but the NBA is better when New York Knicks basketball is good, but I just think it was kind of a not fluky year because you got to be good to get to where they were, but more so like one of those years where it's just everything kind of fell into place for a playoff appearance. I mean, I didn't think they'd be I didn't think they'd be as good this year, but I didn't think they'd be this bad. It kind of surprised me. And for the Lakers, obviously, massive disappointment. I mean, you get Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, all these people, and you're a losing record.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
Which is fine with me because I don't really like super teams, or teams that necessarily do that. But it makes me happy to see. But at the same time, there's still a disappointment.
Agreed. Agreed. Before we move on to baseball and finish things up, we briefly talked about it earlier. What was it? What was it? What was it? What was it? What was it?
LeBron James wants to play
All
with
right.
Bronny.
Right. You go
So,
first.
so the Oklahoma City Thunder have an astronomical amount of picks between now and when Bronny is scheduled to declare for the draft. And he's 17 now. You got to be 19, so we got 2 years. And Oklahoma City obviously has a lot of picks after that as well. But people are probably, I'm hoping, because I like competent organizations, I am hoping that Bronny is not drafted first overall just because they want to get LeBron James.
Yeah.
And I mean, as a business move, it's absolutely genius because that's LeBron's last year. The storyline with Bronny and LeBron, father son, for the first time ever in NBA, if I remember correctly. So you got that storyline, and on top of knowing it's LeBron's last year, you're gonna make so much money. And if you're playoff contenders, which LeBron won't care at that point because he just wants to play with the Sun, but if you are a playoff contender, those playoff tickets sold out. Sold out. And if anything can happen in the playoffs. So if you make it to the finals, imagine. I don't think it's going to be with the Lakers. I don't think it's going to be with the Cavaliers.
I want it to be with the Cavs.
I would like it to be with the Cavs because LeBron is a Cleveland Cavalier, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Oklahoma City is the only team with enough assets to get it done. But they would have to, if I'm an owner, I just would have a hard time sacrificing, future stuff like picks or players just for that 1 year of money.
Yeah, I think, I don't know though. It would be, you hit it on the head. You hit it on the head, by the way. I don't have much to add to that, other than I think it would be weird to see a team like Oklahoma City compete for championships. It's just,
I don't think they would.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't probably.
I mean, Bronny is not a top prospect at all. At all. I mean, his class is loaded, and he just is not a top prospect, which is kind of weird given his father is the second best player of all time. But
it's gonna be a journey, definitely. And I cannot wait for the next 2 years to see what happens.
We will definitely find out more as time goes on.
It will. It's something to keep your eyes on. Something I think is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So, before we wrap things up, let's briefly talk about baseball. Spring training has been pushed back to March 5th for now. The MLBPA had something to say about it, I believe.
Yeah, they posted a statement on Twitter and other social media that the pushback was not necessary, and the MLB is just kind of being, ridiculous. And which we all knew that. Like, we all know the MLB is kind of wrong in this sense. And it just, they're going to keep meeting this week. There's a lot of meetings happening this week. They met a couple of days ago for like 5-6 hours or something like that, something crazy. More than 15 minutes, which is surprising because that's how long it usually takes. Yeah.
They did ask for another mediator, though.
They did.
Involved.
They did. But they seem to have agreed on the universal DH. They did agree with that. And so it's obviously amazing for the actual sport of baseball.
Good.
But
yes.
For MLB The Show players like myself, that's a little terrifying.
So explain that to me, because I think I've established by now that I don't game, and I should, and I'm working on it. But explain to me. Explain like I'm a child.
So when you have obviously a typical MLB lineup, you have the pitcher batting last.
Right.
But unless you're Shohei Ohtani. But now you can have that pitching spot replaced by another hitter, and it takes away some of the strategy.
Right.
To play. And it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. I'm going to buy the game without question. I'm excited for it. But it's going to be interesting to see how it works out with that. I know a lot of people are talking about that part of it, but everybody supports the universal DH. Like it had to happen.
Right. I mean, yeah. I will miss the days of watching pitchers struggle to play. It is something special to watch a pitcher.
But it's just stupid, and it's gonna be great.
It was part of the game. It was
I know.
It was part of the legacy of the game.
But some interesting news has come out the past day, where rumors are that Freddie Freeman will be leaving the Atlanta Braves. Potentially.
It's not a rumor. We all knew he was going to leave.
Which makes me happy because Atlanta, I don't like Atlanta at all in the slightest. So, I'm okay with that.
I, for one, hope he comes to the Yankees and we spend yet another $1 million salary on a player who is past their prime. And, sorry, if he goes to the Yankees, it's going to be Ichiro all over again.
Probably.
Did I love having Ichiro for the Yankees?
Of course.
Did he help us? Not really.
Some drama in the MLB this week, though. Bruce Lee, a 35-year-old Chicago ticket broker, was sentenced to 1.5 years in federal prison, as well as $74,650 in restitution.
I told Goose then, I said, Goose, I want my restitution.
To the White Sox. He also had to forfeit $450,000 in ill-gotten gains after the jury found him guilty of fraud way back in October.
I did not know Bruce Lee was A, alive, and B, that young. Are we sure this is the Bruce Lee or just some dude named Bruce Lee?
Some dude named Bruce Lee.
Yeah. That's interesting. So what exactly did he do? Did he just...
I didn't say when I was reading it, but it was ruled as fraud, and he had to forfeit a lot of money.
Well, let's find out right now. The fans are waiting. Bruce Lee, White Sox. Fraudulently sold White Sox tickets. There you go.
Yeah. I knew it was something like that.
It wasn't that easy. Well, at least we actually are getting stories about baseball. Could be worse.
Finally.
And at least baseball season is starting at the job I work at. For those who don't know, I work part-time at a community college. Not going to say when because I value my privacy, but I do play-by-play. Baseball and softball season's coming up, and I was talking with one of the athletic trainers at the facilities, and we're both in agreement that, yay, we get our baseball fix. We can actually get our baseball fix. And
right?
Even with baseball probably not happening. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on, man. So...
But that completes everything that we've had to talk about, I think,
Yeah.
Other than Goobers of the Week, we got, go ahead.
So our Goober of the Week nominees are, as always, Rob Manfred.
Of course.
He's just permanent. And then Jalen Green of the Houston Rockets, who, I don't know, how do I put this into words? There comes a time in the dunk contest where if you've missed a dunk 5 times in a row, 6th time might not be the charm.
Probably not.
And it probably is best to just give up because you're going to make yourself look like a fool.
Right.
The dunk contest as a whole can be put as a goober. Also, not Big Four sports related, but another goober I want to point out is the head coach of Michigan basketball who picked picked that fight during the handshake line. Just come on, man.
Goober.
You're setting an example for your kids, for the kids that you coach. And that example is if you're angry with your opponent running the score up, beat the shit out of them.
Yep.
Well, that will do it for me. Kylie, take us home.
All right. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. This concludes this week's episode of the Sportsgasm Podcast. If you liked what you heard, tune in next week and maybe check out the support button on Anchor and to help us grow and improve. We would love to do more. You can watch this whole thing and more on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. We post stupid stuff there. TikTok, we also post really stupid stuff there, but it's entertaining.
We just started a new series on TikTok, by the way, called Guess the Player.
Yes.
Keep your eyes peeled for more of those. We're going
We
to
will
try and
be-
yeah.
Yeah, we will be posting those quite frequently. And follow us on Instagram. All of the social media handles are at SportsgasmPod. And we will be asking questions for future episodes and posting them on socials as well. As always, see you guys next week.
And remember, do not be afraid to reach out to us if you want to appear on the Sportsgasm podcast and give us your opinions on various sports or your teams. Reach out to us, please. We're begging you. You know, we love talking to the fans. We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week, guys.